morning, everyone. Hello, welcome. Welcome to the Wise Agent webinar. I'm getting us connected to Facebook here. So give me a second while I try and type and read at the same time and speak all at the same time. All right, I think we're live on Facebook. I believe we're live on Facebook, everyone. So welcome, everyone. My name is Eleni Sommerschield. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent. Welcome to today's webinar. A couple of little announcements before we get started with everything. I would love to see where you guys are in the country. So if you can post what city and state that you're coming to us from, as well as your brokerage, that'd be awesome. It's always interesting to see where everyone is around the country, around the world, really. And a couple little housekeeping tips. We are recording this session. Hey, Jennifer with HomeSmart, there you go. In Surprise, Arizona, and in Vegas, Suzette, welcome, hi. And so we are recording this. We are live on Facebook in our Wise Agent community. You will get a recording of this. So if you get a phone call from that client, go ahead and answer it. You can watch the replay after the webinar is completed. You'll get it in your inbox. Got people from North Carolina, all these people coming in from all over the country. I love it. North Carolina, I was supposed to go to North Carolina and that got canceled. Pennsylvania, awesome. So today we're going to be talking with Julie Tate. She is with HomeSmart's Elite Valley Solutions team. And we're going to be talking about how to manage and grow your real estate team with your CRM. So Julie, while I clear my throat and have a drink, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Valley Solutions team.
Welcome, everyone. Julie Tate, and with the Valley Solutions team at HomeSmart here in Arizona. Came over to HomeSmart about 3 years ago, a little over three and a half years ago. And we brought 6 agents with us and have now grown our team. We're somewhere between 80 to 100. I'm not sure on the exact count of agents. And just really love being at HomeSmart. And
that's awesome. That's a big big jump in growth from 6 agents to almost 100, close to 100 agents in such a short span. 3 years is not a really long time to grow that fast, like that quickly, exponentially, which is amazing. So good job to you. Kudos to you and your team for doing that. And today we're going to be talking about how Julie uses Wise Agent to help manage her team, run her team. Just as everybody knows out there, when you're running a real estate, team or brokerage, or even just your own business as an agent, you're running it as a business. So there's things that you need to do, processes that you have in place. So we're going to be talking a lot about different processes that you're doing, Julie, specifically, and how Wise Agent helps with that. With recruiting, retention, and communications, which are huge things for team leads and brokerages and just anyone in general. So I'm excited for this conversation. A couple of things. So while we're talking, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in our Q&A section. We have Sarah, who's our moderator today. Thank you, Sarah, from the Wise Agent team as well. And you can, so you can post questions in the Q&A section, or you can even post them in the chat if you have anything that you want to share or talk about. We're happy to address any of those things. And as you all know, before you joined today's session, when you registered, there was, you had the opportunity to ask a question. So we're going to go through those questions as well and try to answer those for you all as well. So, all right, well, let's get started here because I'm excited. This is something that, for me, I really love talking about how you would manage a team, because that's how I use Wise Agent. Obviously, I don't sell homes. We sell software here, but we use Wise Agent to run our own business. And one of the things that we do is we have, within Wise Agent, and I'll be sharing my screen here in a minute, you could use our checklist functionality to really keep all your processes and everything that you do in your business, really organized, because that's such a key thing, especially when you're dealing, Julie, with 100 agents. I mean, that's got to be really difficult to manage that. You can't do that on like a Post-it note or even on a spreadsheet. It's going to be difficult to do. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing to keep your communication with your agents?
I can tell you, when I first started, when we had 6 agents, I was using an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And so when I got around to talking with Brandon originally about Wise Agent, I was super excited because I was thinking, oh, so I can take what I'm doing in OneNote, Excel, Word, and Outlook, and put it all in one place. So I basically treat my CRM as agents instead of clients. So
yeah,
instead of I keep my sphere in there, I reach out to them, but I also have a separate section where I keep everyone on my team.
Yeah, because you have a small group of clients that you work with, just your sphere of individuals that you decided to keep. But then the majority of everything in your Wise Agent account is your agents, and then any recruits or
right, any potential, any prospective agents, anything like that.
Okay. Yeah. So, and that's something that I know a lot of people struggle with is, they're not, I don't have clients. I'm just using this for my agents and running the business that way. And it's so doable. Wise Agent is so flexible in that capacity where you can really use it the way that you need to. I mean, the terminologies are all the same. I mean, and we're going to go into that. I'm just reading one of these notes. I just have to say, because Jennifer, one of our viewers today, she is on the way to the hospital because her daughter is pregnant and going into labor. So good luck, Jennifer, to your daughter, and good luck with that. That's always exciting. I always love new babies. So I'm going to share my screen so we can talk a little bit about and show you all a little bit about Wise Agent here. So I'm going to just go into our checklist templates, because I know, Julie, this is something that we've talked about a lot, is how do you get your team organized? How do you get things going in here? And I know I had created one new team member. So I have created a template in this test account. So we have some default templates that I want to talk about for agents. So you can have like a buyer, a seller, commercial listing, lending, short sale, title and escrow. You can create your own templates that would be used for running your business or doing whatever it is. And it's really easy to use our templates. They're all based on certain criteria. So your critical dates, like, your hire date or start date or whatever you want to use this. And you can even put in here, recruiting date or whatever it is that you want to put in here. So you can put in this, so we'll just say recruiting date. And you can have this required, not required, appear on your calendar, all these different options. And then you have your form fields. So you can have like an employee number, your real estate license number, when it expires, whatever it is. You can even put their license expiration date and your critical dates. That could be something that could help you manage your team. And then your tasks. So you can come in here and say, I need to onboard this person. I need to go through orientation, or I need to go through this, that, or the other. And so you can add them to a specific form that you have, create an email address, whatever it is that you provide a CRM for them, you provide that. You can put this all in your checklist. So then when you hire somebody on, and you can see here, let me edit this one. So when I do orientation, it'll be like, it's due the day after their hire date or their start date. And it's assigned to somebody specifically, or you can just say it's assigned to whoever owns the checklist. So you can make this really flexible. You could even assign it to somebody other than yourself. So then when you create a checklist, what happens is, Phoebe, for example, would get an email saying, you need to complete this task on this date. And what happens is in the templates, you don't specify those dates right here. When you create the actual checklist off of this template, that's when all those critical dates pop up. And actually, I'm just gonna go into a checklist I already created. So here we go. So Michael Phelps is going to be our newest agent coming into our team. And so his hire date is the 22nd. I think that's tomorrow. So I would say here, his orientation, and it takes this date, this hire date, and it will calculate the date that that's due. So it will automatically calculate these dates for me. So I have to, complete all these forms, his employee form, the emergency contact form. And once I've done this, then I could go ahead and check this off, and then it'll give me the percentage completed right here on the side here. I can have all this in one location. And then the beauty of this is that I could even, send them a calendar invite to say, hey, orientation is going to take place on this date, this time, in this location, or here's the Zoom link, or whatever it is, however you want to do that. So you could even, with the click of a button, invite them to an event as well, which is a really nice thing. I could send an email saying, hey, looking forward for your start date tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And I can send that out as well in an email, which is really nice to be able to get that messaging and all that stuff done. So while you're doing your checklist, you at your fingertips have everything that you might need in order to complete all your tasks here and remind them of things. So that's a great way of getting people onboarded and started with this. I know, Julie, that you use Wise Agent as well for recruiting. Can you talk a little bit about how you're using Wise Agent for some of your recruiting?
Can I tell you one thing about checklists before we leave that topic?
Yeah.
So I created checklists for new agents that are going through our mentoring program. So I track when they're going to be completed with their first 3 transactions. I track, I have a checklist because there's different procedures when you bring someone on from the brokerage versus when you bring somebody on that's outside of the brokerage. So it's just been a great tool for me to be able to have everything there, and I know I'm not missing anything. But what was your question?
No problem. No, I was. I'll just add to that. I mean, that is great that you can have. That you mentioned that you have a couple of different templates, so you can create a clone of one, like you were saying, like you have one that recruiting from within HomeSmart or within your brokerage, or outside of it, and you can have different things that are happening, but a lot of the things are similar, so you don't want to have to reinvent the wheel. So you can take that one, clone it, and then add tasks to it saying, I need to get these other 5 things done. And that's kind of nice, because then I know we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, saying, well, what you can do is really to be able to hold on to all of that data, because you want to be able to then look back and say, run a report and say, how many people did I create a checklist for that were from within the organization or outside of it? And then you can see the difference in that. And that's, those are those metrics that I think are really, kind of powerful, that can, so you can measure your success and measure what you're doing. So
I just like that everybody gets treated the same that way. As long as I have my checklist, I know I didn't send one person this and not another person, or, I need to add a Wise Agent account. I need to add them to our design studio, all those different things. And I know that I check it off. I know it's taken care of.
Yeah.
Way to track it.
Yeah, I mean, because that's one thing. I mean, there's so many things when you hire somebody new onto your team or into your organization that you have to do, and skipping one of those things could really be a detriment to that new employee or that new person, because then it's like, oh, they didn't get that warm, fuzzy feeling because you got lost in the things that you had to do and didn't have something to remind you, didn't have that checklist. So
it's great too for an exit. checklist when an agent leaves the team, because then I want to make sure I take them out of our private group so they're not getting all our little shared secrets anymore. You know, all these different steps that sometimes slip your mind.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that too. We do that here as well. And what, again, you can use that cloning feature, because then you can just say, okay, now do, instead of orientation, do the exit interview, instead of add them to the Facebook group, remove them from the Facebook group. So you're not retyping everything and you're just changing the words. So
yeah, I took one template and made 4 out of it. So
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And what a time saver that is. I mean, not just the data entry part, which I hate doing data entry, but also, I mean, I don't know anybody that really likes doing that, to like just type words out. You like to just type for, maybe it's my long nails. I always miss a letter or type in the wrong word, plan instead of plan. But yeah, just not having to repeat the same process over and over again and having to type everything out. You know, I like having the organization part of it without having all the work that you know is entailed with it. Awesome. Yeah. And so what do you do with how do you use Wise Agent and recruit, like for your recruiting of your agents? So
one of the things that I'm doing now with Wise Agent is the weekly calendar of events. So we do a lot of things weekly. I know if we have a training session that we open up to people outside of the team, that we can recruit from that. A lot, you know, most of it, we're going to at least recruit 1 or 2 agents from every event that we do. So I do my weekly events and I share that with the team and with any prospective people that I think might want to come listen to the training or that sort of thing. So that's been good. Just setting up the regular emails to go out. You know, contacting whatever lists that we get from the title company, or, you know, I have agents that are saying so-and-so might be interested. So then I'm going to start them on a drip and I treat them like clients, just like buyers or sellers.
Yeah.
Same way that you would do that.
Yeah. And the drip campaigns, that's an email sending. That's a huge thing. I mean, email works, drip campaigns work. It's nice to have it where something's automated. I know one of the questions is, you know, how to use automation to be most productive. And I think drip campaigns is really the way to go. And then taking it to the next level would be, at least in my opinion, would be, you know, doing something, we're talking about events. And I know when we did, so Julie and I met, you know, almost a year ago, and I've worked with her team, and what we did was we had an event, we had a happy hour. I love happy hours. So we had a happy hour with her team, and we used our landing page to create that, to get people to RSVP to something. And that's a great way of getting people as an invitation, but it's also a great way to use your landing pages. I'm just going to go show an example of that. So to use a landing page to invite somebody either to like an open house here, or you could use this and change this around and say, invite them to a customer appreciation event, or, you know, training or anything. So you can change out this image. It doesn't have to be about a property. It could be about something else, and just change out the images, change out the text. Instead of saying open house, this could say like happy hour at, or client appreciation at on this date, so on and so forth. Change this out. You could add to this form like a mobile number or whatnot. And then what you're doing is a couple of things. Is one, you're getting the word out about your event. You're keeping it kind of in a way where everything will be organized, because this will all go in under a source and category, so you can see where who's coming, who's not coming. But then if they are already in your database, it'll also update them. So if I put my contact information and I use a different email address, then it'll update their email address in your contact record. So now you have an additional email address to follow up with them on. And so you can include a mobile number. Maybe you didn't have their mobile number or whatnot, then you can also include that in here. So you get more data back from them, which is great. But we did this, and you know, you could even do surveys in here. You could do all sorts of things and send it out to your team
We did
either,
that survey to find out about the training,
yeah,
and we did the drip, and I think those are really helpful. You know, like if we have, how many people would be interested in this if we're getting ready to buy another package? We did that with Wise Agent when we were starting. How many people would be interested in a CRM? So
mhm,
they're great things. And the other one is a follow-up email. The thing with Wise Agent is you can have all these forms, right? So I meet with the agent and then I can send them an email that's the same one I send to everyone. Thanks for meeting with me, kind of thing, as a follow-up. So
yeah.
just staying in contact with them.
Yeah, and that's in building that relationship. I mean, that's really important, is that just like with your clients, with your agents, you need to build a relationship and make sure that you're staying connected with them and engaging them. They feel supported in what you do and what they do. You're giving them the tools and resources to set them up for success as well. And that's a huge thing, just in all leadership roles, is you want to make sure that all your people are set up for success. And that's, you know, a huge part of your oversight is making sure of that.
I think if you treat recruiting just like getting buyers and sellers, and you look at, okay, if I do this for buyers, how can I make that work for agents? And the same goes for sellers. So it's super easy to convert. You know, it may not be labeled agent, but it works the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, keeping all the data that you collect in one central location, so then you can go back and look at it and see, you know, oh, when is their license expiring? And then you can send that little reminder saying, hey, your license is expiring. I know a couple of people, I know we even talked about this, Julie, is you can go in there and set it up where you could just have it, like, if you know Michael Phelps's license is expiring on January 3rd, let's say, you could come in here and set up a scheduled email. So you can create content, you can create that letter in here saying, hey, your license is expiring. And you can, you know, create that message in your letter library and then schedule that to go out right before, you know, a month before his license is expired, or 2 months before. So I could say, okay, on November 3rd, hey, he'll get an email at 11:21 a.m. saying your license is about to expire. You need to renew this within the next 2 months and whatnot. So it really helps with your oversight and keeping them on track too. It's not just one-sided. It's for everybody's benefit. So I love that part and how we use that. I know one of the things that you talked about was your email. And I know before you were using a couple of different tools to help you create that. And now you're using Wise Agent's email and newsletter in conjunction to create your own custom newsletters. And you're sending those out, like, that's not even monthly. You're sending out weekly newsletters, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What our events are.
For all your events. And that's something before, is it okay if I say what you were using before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before you were using MailChimp, and we just took the source code from that and copy and pasted it into the newsletter in here. And so you can just create a blank newsletter, and you literally just click on this source. And on the same thing on the MailChimp side, you can view the source code, paste it in here. And then once you uncheck source, it'll all look not in code. It'll look, you know, you'll see the images, you'll see everything. You'll still have to upload those images, but our team can help anyone with that. And that's a really great way. I love templates and using those and then reusing them over and over again. It saves on so much time because then you can just reconfigure things where, you know, you just need to change out an image every month or every week, and then add, you know, change out the dates, change things out, but you just take one template and reuse it over and over again.
On the support side of it, I will say you guys have amazing support. I mean, you're probably not going to toot your own horn, but last week I was trying to do these templates and I was struggling with a couple of things, and I'm one of those that I'll just click on anything and then try to fix it later. And when I couldn't figure it out, I must have called like 4 times back to back. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And I never got that, what do you want now call, you know?
Yeah.
So it's nice.
That's nice to hear. I love our support team. They do an amazing job. We do our best to answer everyone's phone calls, and we do sometimes get a little bit busy, but we do publish our phone number, our email, we have chat, all these different tools. Everyone learns different, and some people need and want their hands being held through a process, which I'm all about that too, because the more you know, the more you learn, then you can go ahead and replicate that on your own. It's always that it can be nerve-wracking to learn a new system, and then especially it could be really devastating if you don't have any of that support behind you to really learn it and then understand how it works. But that's what we try and do here, is try and get everyone to call our support, contact our support one way or another, so we can really walk.
Videos are great, but sometimes you just need to talk to someone, you know. Sometimes you just either don't get it, or, you know, it's not, well, maybe it's probably me more than anything, but sometimes I don't get it from a video. I need to talk to someone.
Yeah, which is totally fine. I mean, I think that's why we're here. That's why we're here. So awesome. I'm glad you like that. I know we have a question here. Someone is saying that they're a single agent that sells about 90 to 150 homes a year, which is amazing. Good job to you. And she handles everything on her own, and would love to get some help on that, what she could do to get this more automated. I mean, I think that's a huge amount of, what is that, like 8 or 9 homes a month, that's a really high producing agent. So kudos to you for that. Julie, do you have any tips on what they can be?
I would say you got to have a checklist going, you know, to keep track of those 8 transactions a month, unless you've got a TC. I hope you have a TC or somebody helping you. That's a lot.
Yeah.
But if you have 8 transactions going a month, you need to be putting it in a CRM. One, you don't want to lose contact with those people, and you don't want the level of service that you're providing to go down because of the number of transactions that you're doing. So I think a checklist would be great to say, you know, remember what, you know, because after a while they start to blend, you know, like, was it that house or was it this house that, you know, has the Benzer credit or whatever. So I would be taking advantage of the notes in the checklist, where you down at the bottom where you could put down things. I'd be calendaring when things are due or what you need to, you know, any kind of follow-ups. That's a lot.
That is a lot. I love that. I know having even, you know, from kind of the consumer standpoint too, is you mentioned not wanting to lose touch with them, is because they're going through like this huge purchase in their life, and maybe they're, you know, I mean, even if you're not a first-time home buyer, no matter how many times you go through it, it still feels like it's new all over again. At least that's been my experience, and a lot of people that I talk to, is it's like you've not done it before. You forget. I think you forget on purpose sometimes, because it can be a little stressful. And so having something where you could even create a drip campaign that's either you know, I don't know if you would do a fixed date, because that would be kind of really difficult to, you'd have to change that with every transaction. I would say a drip campaign that would be on just a drip that coincides with your checklist. So as soon as the deal gets started, then you can say, okay, on day 15, after the transaction has gone into whatever it is, you know, into escrow or whatever you've done, then you can say, send out this email, and then 3 days later, send out this email, to keep everyone kind of in the know. And then you're keeping in contact with them, because then they can always reply back to that email saying, hey, nothing to do with what's being said in this email, but I want to know about X, Y, and Z. Like, when should I start packing? Whatever.
The other thing is having that follow-up email, you know, okay, we're reaching the end of the inspection period. Here's the next, you know, steps in the process, so that everybody's getting treated the same. Because, you know, nobody likes to admit it, but if you have a really smooth transaction and you've got, let's say you even have 4 transactions going on in the same month, that person kind of slips from your mind because they're not a problem to you. Like, I've done deals where I go back and I go, what was the address of that house I sold? really? So it's a good way to put those notes in the folder, like I call them folders, but under the client contact, this is the property. And then I want to have those emails going out to them, you know, the home appraised to value, or if I have the buyer, what if it didn't appraise to value? What are the next steps? And having those preset templates of what emails go out so that I'm not having to do it. Even if I got to go in and modify it a little bit, but just to have that standard email going out so I know that every step of the way, my clients know where they're at in the process and what to expect. And then nobody loses that level of service just because it's a smooth deal.
Yeah, that's a great point, because you want to make sure that everyone's kind of staying ahead of everything. You're giving everyone, setting everyone up for the expectations of, okay, next is this. Everyone's in the know, and then you set it up for success, really. So they know that you're working with them. But I think also having, you know, one of the things that you can do with the checklist templates or the checklist is also have those on your task list. So they can also be seen from your task list. So then you can say, when I go into, even when you just are looking at the dashboard, you can see what needs to be done, and kind of, so I can scroll down to like what's in my task list. So I can see for Neo, I have to do, you know, something. I have to do this one thing for this checklist. So I can check it off right away from here. I can just start doing things and checking things off. I have the final walkthrough, and you can see, and I can even order it by, you know, only in a checklist. So really quickly, and I can see who it's for without having to go into every single checklist itself. So I can see everything at a glance, which is really nice. It saves with a lot of time. But then of course, if you're like, okay, I need to work specifically on this one thing, this one property, you could go through and do that all from right here as well. And then, you know, that's where your hot list comes into play, where you can have, you know, all 8 of those transactions on your hot list each month. So you're keeping like, oh yeah, I've got to remember, I got to keep an eye on these. So you can see what's happening. I think that's a great way of doing that. We're getting a lot of questions about integrations. So let me go over that. And I guess with the integrations, let me start, since we are talking about checklists and everything else. Actually, let me just go here and click on, let me click on Michael Phelps. So when you're going through a transaction, you know, one of the things is sometimes you have your forms and everything that you need. So you may be using SkySlope, you may be using .loop or Transaction Desk Zip Form Edition or DocuSign, whatever it is that you're working on. You'll need to have access to those things. And we've built that into our CRM, where if you're using SkySlope, I saw there was a question about that specifically. So I can come in here and say, you know, I need to write a listing or an offer or just send out for signatures. So I could come in here and just click on this, put in my, you know, the property address, go through the whole entire form here, and then fill this out. See, long nails, I can't type. I'm just going to say swim.com. And so I'm going to just go through this. And now what I can do is go through and find the forms that are in my state, in my association, and use those for this process. So I can go ahead and select this and then go on and just do, you know, take care of the forms from here. If I'm, you know, using DocuSign or .loop or Transaction Desk, I can select them from here. I can start a transaction from Zip Form, the Transaction Desk Zip Form Edition. You know, if it's a seller, I can type in this stuff, and then it just single signs me in. I'll do a manage. I can view all the transactions from here. Once I've created them, I can view them, and then I can even get all the files from that transaction and save them within Wise Agent. So I can manage this. It'll just automatically log me into my account. my Zip Forms account, and I can go through this whole entire thing and do whatever it is that I need to do here. But then I can also get the documents. So let's see if I don't have this one. Oh, it worked. So then I can see where my, no, it already exists in here. So you can see these are already the attached files that I have under here. So you can do everything. That's the thing about with a CRM is you want to have all the tools that you use integrated in. So then you have one central place, one central location where you're getting all of that data, and you don't have to keep remembering username and passwords. I know that's like where I fall apart is don't ask me to remember username or password. So using that single sign-on is really important to keep me on task, because then if I start looking for what my passwords are or what my username, I don't know about you, Julie, but then I get a squirrel moment and I'm like, ooh, what's happening over here? And then I just go off into, and I forget what I was doing. I start looking at something else. So that's a really big thing. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. Yeah.
A crazy password system.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's the nice thing about the single sign-on is you don't have to have all of that. I know there's another question about our integration with Dub. So we do have that integration as well. Dub is a video email system that you can use within Wise Agent. So you can set it up where when your leads come into the system, you can send them a Dub video. So if I'm getting leads from a landing page that I've created, I can come in here and in the response, I can have a video automatically play, as soon as they get that email in here. Oops. So someone mess around with yeah, that's not the right one. Let me see. Let me change that one around. Hold on. Let me go into emails here. So I can just go into my emails here and say, go ahead and did someone turn off my Dub integration? Let's go into our settings. So from our integration settings, you can go to Dub. Let's see if it's, oh, did I uninstall? I'm not in Chrome. That's why. Sorry, folks. So you have to do it from Chrome in order for, that's what's happening with me. I'm not in Chrome, so I can't do it in Firefox. But typically you would see a little Dub icon. If you're in Chrome, it only does work in Chrome and Wise Agent. And there's a little Dub icon that you would be able to click on, and then you'd be able to select your video. So Dub is similar to, BombBomb, and you can, you could use either service. We're integrated with both, as well as YouTube. And then you can also send out video texting through or videos through our texting service as well. So that's how that would work.
That's a great recruiting tool to have.
The video.
To be able to do the video, even if you're welcoming someone to the team once they join, or if you're telling them about an event coming up, sometimes you can tell in video and convey more excitement about something than when they read it, they get whatever excitement they read into it, right? Rather than you doing the video.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, video does help with conversion. And, speaking of conversion, what is it? You have to have at least 8 touches in order to start that conversion process. At least one of those should be video. I feel like also at least one should be a phone call, at least one should be a text message, and then the rest could all be emails, but you want to at least have that personally, like where you actually hear them talking and they hear you talking live in person, and then the video, which is part of that automation, and texting as well. That can be part of the automation as well. Another question about an integration is if we integrate with Brokerment. So currently we don't, but that is something that we're working towards. So if you want to reach out to our support team, we can add you to our list as well. So we'll be working on that for everyone as well. A couple of questions that we're getting is, how do you categorize people in Wise Agent, Julie? I know that you were saying like you use Wise Agent like you would buyers and sellers instead of, for agents. So are there certain tags that you use or categories?
I use all kinds. So I have, just the standard one. If they're on the team, once they leave the team, I tag them as, prior team agents.
Yeah.
As far as my client base, I sell a lot of horse property. So those are, I have a website, Live Where You Ride. So those are my Live Where You Ride clients. Then I have waterfront property clients. So there's so many different categories that you can do. And the nice thing is that you can intermingle them, right?
Yeah.
So I have like an agent that I sold them a house and they're on the team now. They went and got their real estate license. So they fit in all these different categories.
Yeah.
So it's just nice to have that. You can tag it if you brought them over from an event, all kinds of things. So
yeah, I love that too. And what you were saying too about being able to, even when you sever them from the team, that you don't delete them. I always am huge on like, don't ever delete anyone from your CRM. They just stay in there forever and just change their categories, change their tags to, be whatever it is. Because even when you sever someone from your team, you still want to market to them because you don't know. I mean, things can change in their life and in your life,
right.
and they can always come back to you. So changing just their tag is, because that's how you segment really an audience, is when you have everybody like, this is where they belong. This is kind of how
right.
They fit into my life or in my business. And then you kind of move them along in that path.
Yeah. If I want to reach out to a certain set of people, it's nice to have them categorized to know, send this email to everybody that's tagged with this category.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know that you don't provide leads for your team. We're getting a question on lead distribution to team members. So let me go ahead and answer that question really quickly here.
I will say we primarily do not provide leads. So we have a program that does provide leads that we're just starting. And I will probably track that through Wise Agent. But as a whole, we do not provide leads.
Yeah. So with Wise Agent, the way that Julie's team is set up is that Julie has her own account, and then all of her agents have their own accounts, and they're considered outside team members to one another. So, you can have as like a team lead or a broker, you could have oversight as to the number of contacts that you've added, but not like the person that you've added. So you can't see like Bob Smith or Susie Jones, but you could see that like, 10 people were added this week, or, or this time frame. So this is where you would have your outside team in here. And what you could do is you could share content, you could share leads. So there's like a lead tracker in here. And then you could also distribute the leads through our lead rules. This is really powerful because lead distribution is something that can be really challenging if you're doing it manually, like to keep tally of like, who did you give out? I mean, like, so you can do like a round robin type of thing where you can say based on the dollar amount, or you could do based on a zip code, or based on day of the week. And you can have all of these criteria in here, and the system will do it for you automatically. And you can see like Monica and Phoebe are part of my inside team on this account, but Izzy is an outside team member. So the first lead might go to Monica, second to Phoebe, third to Izzy, and so on and so forth. And I still would have access to the notes for that lead, even from Izzy's account. So if Izzy goes in there and types in, we have a meeting set up for this date, this time, I would be able to see that in the notes from for that particular lead. So that's a really great way of doing that. And that lead distribution can be done, it can be really a tedious process to do if you're doing it manually, and having the automation is a really nice thing. And then the other thing that you can have with the team And I think this is what you're doing too, Julie, is you could even provide content. You could provide marketing materials and say, hey, I created this drip campaign for you, and now I can share it out, and I can share this out to everyone. So I can share this to Izzy and say, hey, anytime you get a lead from the website, I want you to use this drip campaign. Or if you're getting a lead from Zillow, use this drip campaign. And I can send these out, and then they can tweak them if they want. But I know for the most part, it's going to go out the way I really want it to go out as a broker or as a team lead. So then some more questions.
It's nice though to even share those things because people don't always have the content or know what to post about. So if you had like a market update, if I'm going through all the trouble of doing it, maybe I want to share that with the agents on my team so that they can go out and share it as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's always great because like having content like that, like all that data where like this is what's being sold in this zip code, or this is what's being sold in this area. We're both in Arizona, and so, or in the Phoenix metro area. And so being, we're kind of broken up into quadrants here. So this is what's happening in the Northwest Valley. This is what's happening in the Northeast Valley. And having that data pushed over as content to your agents is really valuable because then they can provide that value to their agents. And it's something that you bring on even as a recruiting tool, saying, I provide you with content so you can share this along and make yourself look great, and you don't have to write it all up by yourself. So that's a great way of doing it too. There's a question on, is there a max number of contacts that can be in the CRM? So Rich, there's no maximum number that can be in the CRM. It's unlimited, so you can put in as many as you'd like. So that's totally open for you. So hope that helps out. And then a question on tutorials. So what are there tutorials so that if I miss a step, what do I do? And all the training videos that you guys have, how can I go back? So this is not really a tutorial today. We're just giving like best practices and kind of educating you on how you could use Wise Agent. But if you go, and I'm going to share my screen, if you go to our help drop down here, you go to our knowledge base, and this has, you can type in a question like leads or whatever, and you can say, how do I, send an auto text message? So you can type that in and you'll see the answers here. You could even, there's usually a video embedded in here as well. So you can click on that and it'll take you to the video, unless you're using Firefox, apparently. So you can also use our contact us page. So this is where, this is the best way of getting in touch with us 24/7. So you can fill this out, put in your message here. And you can even call us. We post our phone number as well for you. And then the other help is that the video tutorials. So the video library that we have. So you can we have it in English and Spanish. So we're building up our Spanish library for all of our Spanish speakers as well. So you can, and these are like 5 minutes or less, because I mean, sometimes it's just nice to get to the point of things. So we've broken it down to you. You can obviously watch several of these to put one big thing together, but we wanted to keep it as quickly, just kind of a quick tutorial of things. And then our Facebook community is also a great tool and great resource to ask people around the country and world what they're doing to and how they're using Wise Agent to help them in their business. And then our online classes. So we have those as well. So you can register for those, and this gets updated every week. So that's all of our support and training. And then, sorry, I've been talking way too much lately. Someone's asking about pricing. They wanted to know what everything costs. So I'll just go over that really quickly. So Wise Agent is $29 a month. And that's the base CRM. If you wanted to have a discount, you could pay for it annually, and that gets it to you for $2.99 for the whole year. It's a really good price. So if you have any questions about that, you can contact our support. I'm sure Sarah's going to be posting all of that and about pricing in the chat as well. I know, Julie, you've been using a lot of some of the things that you had created in MailChimp and kind of redoing it and recreating those in Wise Agent and getting, and still utilizing the reporting tools that we have and everything else. I know that's been something that a lot of people are asking about is reporting, and how do you manage like what action you take after you look at one of the reports. So you sent out an email to maybe 100 people that are thinking about coming to your team. What are you looking at as far as the reporting that we offer, like the number of opens? Are you going through and doing what we've talked about?
Obviously, I'm going to reach out to the ones that have open versus closed, and the ones that are closed, I look at what did I send, and what can I do to get a better open rate, right? Because if I'm sending something that I can't tempt someone to open, I know I have to do something, or there's no point in sending it out. I'm not great at using reports to my benefit. It's just, that's one of my goals. Let me just be honest. I got to work at it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's always a good thing. I mean, I think it's always good to like work and live to your strong suits and then give some of those other things to other people and say, okay, you read these reports and report back to me on what they say so I can take those actions. But I know, when you're sending out emails to people and then being able to see what are they responding to, or if they're not responding, even if you send a text out and then they haven't responded back to that text, going back and evaluating it and saying, what did I say here?
Right. I look at a lot too, like when I'm notifying agents of an upcoming team meeting or things like that, if I don't get a lot of attendance or a lot of response, then I go back and see what did I do that, I was more successful last month than I was this month. Yeah. But another thing that's off topic, but I just want to mention it. When we switched over, I had in my previous CRM, I had a database file. And I had about 4 different Excel files of names and contacts. And you guys brought them all together, labeled them all, put them in for me. And it was super smooth and shockingly fast. I remember thinking, if I have this by the end of the week, it'll be great. And I had it like within an hour. It was insane. So.
Yeah, our support team, they're on top of those things. Really,
it's a smooth transition and a great way to be more organized. That's what I love. So
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, I know a lot of people can be overwhelmed by that. Like, oh, if I switch, what's going to happen? How am I gonna move forward with that? I think it's all about the timing and making sure that you have time for it. Don't do it when you're like, I'm leaving on vacation tomorrow, so I'm going to do this now. I mean, that might not be the best time to do it, or maybe it is for you. You'll know that, right? Everyone will know that individually, but making sure that you have some time for it and giving yourself some grace on a learning curve. Don't expect to learn everything in like an hour or even a day, depending on how much you put into it too. That's I
would set aside time to learn it though. Like we did the training event, and I think that was really helpful where you have to put something on the calendar to make yourself learn it, because otherwise you're just gonna let it sit like everything else. We get all these shiny objects, we get started on something and then we drop the ball. Yeah, that's what a realtor does.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I'm like that. If it's not on my calendar, it's just not going to happen. It's like sometimes I just get so busy where it needs to get on my calendar, and then I need to set that intention too, right? It goes back to yourself. And if it's something that means that much to you, then you'll just, I'm huge on time blocking. So I'll say like, give me 2 hours so I can do this. Give me 30 minutes so I can like check my emails. I don't necessarily respond to all of them, but I scan them and like, ooh, I need to respond to these right away. These can wait till later. And then, doing that really helps you become more organized when you have systems in place, and even, the auto responders on things, that gets added. That needs to go right into my CRM. So then Wise Agent replies to them and they get responded to right away. 'Cause sometimes I can take a while to get back to my emails personally, right? So, and you don't want that, especially if you're paying for leads, especially if it has anything to do with lead and lead conversion. If they're going to be waiting hours to be responded to, you just might as well not respond at all, because someone's already reached out to them and you've lost out. So that's something to always be mindful of, is, making sure that you have that automation in there, even if it's like, hey, I can't talk right now, or what's the best time? You don't even have to say I can't talk right now. Like, what's the best time that you can talk? Most definitely it's going to be that time that they're already thinking about, buying or selling. And that's where I think the AI bot comes into play too. If you guys haven't heard about our AI bot, that's something that you can definitely set up. So then you can set it up where you could use it to your advantage. If you're really busy like I am and you're buying leads, then you can set it up where, hey, let this bot, I already know that the leads coming in from this landing page are for buyers. So I'm going to just make sure that this already has been set, and let the bot really help with the conversion, help with the conversation, get all the pertinent information. And then it does that warm handoff to you saying, hey, my associate is going to be talking to you, is going to be calling you. So please give them a chance, they'll be reaching out to you, or what's the best time for them to reach out to you, or whatever it is. The bot will do that. And as soon as they get that, the trigger that your client is ready to either buy or sell with you, then that kind of helps with a lot of the back and forth, like, what are you looking to buy, or what are you looking to sell? The bot gathers all that information and pushes it over to you saying, okay, now they're ready. So that can help with a lot of automation and a lot of things that you're doing that can really help you save some of your time. So I love that feature. I know that we're running short on time, Julie, and I wanted to see if you had anything that you wanted to just kind of share with everybody on your experience, or what you're doing as far as recruiting, and anything you want to share to our audience. I'll give you a minute.
I'll share. Like, I always feel like anytime I go to anything, even this, there's always a nugget of something that I learn. So I just had this little thing pop into my mind when we're talking about categories. You could even put, like, for our team, it's tough to remember when you have that many agents, if somebody has a specialty or something like that. And if somebody might call me and say, hey, I'm looking to buy this, I don't know, whether it's something where there's a well, and I have an agent that's more experienced, but I can't think of who it is. I could put a category for that. So there's just so many things that you could do that really keep you organized. I came from a very organized background, and I believe in just being completely transparent. Growing the team so fast, we have growing pains that I don't work to my best organized ability, and I work better in that environment. I'm very checklist oriented, time blocker, and I get away from it. So this kind of really just helps bring me back and tell me, you work so much better, you get so much more accomplished if you're focused and organized. So that would be, I think, probably the biggest thing, is how to manage, to make you the best, so that what you're providing is the best.
Yeah, I think that's why we get along so great, is because I'm so similar to you, is that, like, I'm on top of my game when I'm organized. And then if I just stop doing my processes and I'm like, oh, I'll just wing it, that's where I'm like, oh, that was not a good idea. That did not.
From contacting me, you can tell when I'm on my game and when I'm not, like, her back from that email, she's not on her game right now.
I know, I hear you. I can be that way too. So it was so great chatting with you today, Julie. Thank you so much. And I did want to make our announcement. So next month, I'm going to be traveling a lot. Actually, I'm leaving Sunday. I'm going to be in Chicago. I'm going to be back home. That's my hometown for work. But I love work-life balance when it can happen. And I always think of business trips back in Chicago always make, for me, it makes my life feel a little bit more balanced. So
I'm back for a wedding in October 5th.
Oh, really? To Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. In the city? Maybe on
No.
the outside suburbs, yeah. Yeah, I'm a city girl. And so now I live in Fountain Hills, Arizona, which if you guys Google Fountain Hills, it's not a big city. It's a really small town, but I'm a city girl at heart. So I love being back into the big city. It'll be fun. And I get to see some of my family too. So bonus for me. So I'll be on the road quite a bit in October, but October 14th, I will be back on the webinar with Marcy James, one of my dear friends. Marcy James is the Director of Industry Relations and Marketing at Realtor.com. And so we're going to be talking about relationship building and just industry influencer and how to become an influencer in your industry. And so either in your specialty, in your the neighborhoods or in the town that you live in or in the city you live in, and just really how to do that, how to accomplish that. So she has a lot of experience in that and a lot of insight on that. So I hope you guys join Marcy and myself on the 14th at 1 p.m. Eastern. Sarah's like making me stay on top of my game. Is that 10 Pacific? I don't know what time that is in Arizona. So we'll be talking about relationship building and industry influencing next month. And then check out our events page to see where I'm going to be. I'm going to be in, I hope I pronounce this right. I always mispronounce the city name, San Luis Obispo in California in the beginning part of October. And then I'll be in Rochester, New York. Then I'm going to Vegas for work. Sarah's posting the events page for us. So I'll be all over the country. I'll be zigzagging back and forth. So if you're in any of those cities and you want to stop by and say hello, I'll be happy to meet with you guys too. So I appreciate everyone's time, and Julie, especially yours today. Thanks so much for being on the webinar with me. And we'll see you guys. We'll see you all in October. Thank you.